Hi there, welcome to 1111 Oracle. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. Today's reading is going to be all about what entity or spirit is around you. Now, this reading is actually inspired by some paranormal occurrences that have been happening in my apartment. And I needed to set some barriers, some psychic barriers for protection around my home last night. If you are interested, I was just sleeping in, my husband and my dog were just lying down in our bed. Thankfully, my husband didn't wake up, but I was woken up by a very big jolt to the bed. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. I've waved it off as maybe like I live in an apartment building. We've had earthquakes here before, so maybe there's some movement, but it was very localized to the bed, and it's not the first time that it's happened. My husband's pretty skeptical about all this paranormal stuff, and even he, at another point, asked me, "Did you jolt the bed?" And I didn't want to alarm him, but in the back of my mind, I knew that something was up. So a good friend of mine reminded me, got to set down your boundaries. So I did. And that is why I was inspired to do this video. Now, it's not necessarily that you have a negative spirit around you. You could have a benevolent one or even a harmless one just asking for help. Either way, we're going to get to the bottom of it in this reading. Before I even start this reading, I am also going to set up boundaries around you, the viewers, and myself. So right away, this is for protection, for me, for you. We are going to actively say this. And you can say what I'm going to share with you in a moment if you do feel that there's something negative around you. Say, I invite all higher dimensional beings into this space, into this reading, and into the viewer's space, including ancestors and loved ones who want you, the viewer, and my highest intent and best well-being and best potential of who we are, who bring in love and light and compassion and love. All other beings who are just coming in out of curiosity, unless you want to work with them, which unless you're an experienced medium, I don't recommend that you do that. So I will say that all beings coming in out of curiosity or wanting help for themselves and not bringing or wanting to bring in harm towards you, your loved ones, myself, everyone involved in this reading right now are not permitted, and this is something that I encourage you to do. Ask your spirit guides for protection. Ask your spirit guides, my spirit guides, our collective spirit guides for protection in this reading, so that regardless of what we talk about, those entities are not allowed in our space. I imagine a protective barrier around you. I welcome you to do the same, protective barrier around you, myself, and your loved ones, that because of the higher frequency and the love and positive intentions of your loved ones, of your spirit guides, they are able to easily pass through this barrier and into your space and to protect you. Those are the spirits you do want around you. But if we're talking about a lower vibrational being, a ghost, or an entity that you just don't want to have around, that barrier will electrocute them energetically, propel them backwards so that they are not permitted near you or your loved ones. There we go. That's the protection there. And I always have like a little bit of ambiance of I'm going to lower the volume a bit though, of birds in the background. Some of you have been messaging me in the comments, which is really cool, that you've been seeing feathers and birds. Something that you may or may not know is that Birds are often linked culturally and in different cultures and religions and superstitions with the deceased. So often when someone has passed away and you're thinking about them and you see a bird coming towards you, or you have some interesting interaction with a bird, this is often believed to be that, your past loved one has sent a messenger to you to tell you that everything is okay. So if that has happened to you, know that your loved one is definitely involved in letting you know that everything is all right. They are safe, they are fine, and they are watching over you. Okay. Before I start the reading, and here are the choices, if you want to fast forward that to the reading, you're more than welcome to do so. But before I go any further, I just want to mention a special promotion that I have been having for a little bit. So there's two going on. The first one I'm going to mention is that, if you don't have a lot of funds, but you still want some closure and some questions that you have, you can email me first to see how it works, and then we'll make arrangements from there. But I am setting up $1 question readings through email. You can ask as many questions as you want. And this is all done through email. So email, a little bit more about that in the description below, and my website as well. If you want to book a personal service, you have a little bit more funds saved up, and you would like something a little bit more lengthy. Usually my readings are about an hour, depending. They can go a little over, depending on our collective energies together. But if you're interested in getting 50% off a personalized reading or service, then just email me a screenshot of your subscription to my channel, and we will go from there. I will grant you 50% off a reading of your choice. Okay. I will mention too that all exchanges are in USD. Okay, so here we have the choices. We have number 1, number 2, and number 3. I'm not sure why oddly enough, the background noise just got quieter all of a sudden, as if planned when I mentioned the choices, but okay. It's interesting synchronicities. Okay, so I will see you at the reading. Hello, number 1. Hi there. So let me fix the camera for you guys. Dun, dun, dun. And there we go. All right, so is that a good angle? I think so. Okay, so now let's take a look. So I'm going to shuffle the cards in front of your very eyes, and let's tune in to see what entity or spirit is around you. Now, remember, this doesn't have to be a negative entity, but if it is, we will talk about it, and I will reiterate some of the protection practices that you can do, including just vocalizing out loud to put down your protective barriers. Okay. So shuffling the cards, what entity or spirit is around you? Number 1. Yes. All right, I'm going to show you the cards and I'm going to set them up for you. But before I do that, we're also going to shuffle from another deck here. What entity or spirit is around you? Too many. I don't do a lot of cards in the reading, so let's see. What entity or spirit is around you? It's possible that you have more than one for sure, and that's kind of what I'm getting right off the bat. If you're worried that you're not protective in your little nerve, your little panicked or worried about, something being around you, don't worry too much, because, try to take some deep breaths to calm your energy down. The more you get in your head, the more you obsess about it, the more you're also going to be attracting this energy to you, right? But don't worry, because don't worry about attracting this energy to you. As long as you're doing other things, you're laughing, you're finding ways to bring your vibration up, you'll be fine. And also the other energy that you have around you is protective energy. So I do feel that there is something. Let's take a look at what it is. Okay, so Page of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, King of Cups. Let's set these up. And let's talk about, oops, sorry, things are falling. Things are falling. Ooh, okay. You may have noticed that objects seem to move around in your home. Has that been happening? I know that I'll share a little anecdote with you. I remember being freaked out one time. I lived in an old place that I lived in by myself, and it was old. It was like this old building that I lived in that was built in the 1880s. And there was some kind of an entity there. A friend of mine also felt that there was a male entity kind of hovering around me, which is weird. I had some weird experiences in that building for sure, and one of them was that the lampshade just moved by itself one time. It totally freaked me out. I called my poor stepdad and said, like, I'm coming over, and like, and then he was like, okay, I don't know. He's totally left brain. He's like, I have no idea what's happening. Usually I would call my mom, but she was on vacation, and he was like, okay, come on over. The kind of quirky, artsy-fartsy, stepdaughter of mine, go ahead. I mean, like, I think he was like a little bit like, all right. But I think about it, I laugh a little bit, but I was like, I need protection. And anyway, so yes, that's what happened. And it turns out it wasn't necessarily a negative entity, but so bringing us to the point here. And you have shapeshifter. Interesting. So the entity that is around you is not what you think it is. Not what you think it is. Not as bad, not as dangerous, not as scary as what you think. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm getting right away, you're someone who's always been very intuitive. You're someone who's always attracted a lot of different, spirits around you. So I think part of your fear is coming from just the fact that you're very open. And so you naturally can feel you can naturally feel different vibrations of people around you, and disembodied, people as well. So it can get confusing. If someone's having a bad day, you can feel that energy, and it can give you a little bit of anxiety. So you can mistake a lot of these feelings for fear that there may be a ghost around you and that type of thing. Now, I will tell you, I feel that there is a ghost. It looks like this may be an animal. So interesting, because I think that some of the things that you feel, that if this is the case for you, let me know in the comments below, where objects are falling, etc., on the ground. If you think of animals, and humans can obviously throw things on the ground too, but if you just think of an animal having this sort of chaotic energy, it almost feels like there's some kind of, like, speaking of a bird, there's some kind of, there may be, not necessarily, but I just, my eye caught, see, if you saw the other video about clairvoyance, this is a little bit how that works. So my eye caught the wing of the fairy over here, and then that gave me the signal that yes, indeed it is a bird. So there is some kind of a bird, like it could very well be an owl, or there's some sort of bird that is a ghost, because animals can go into the spirit realm and not decide to cross over for whatever reason, and it's just kind of hovering around you. It actually feels quite caged, quite confused. I'm getting an interesting story that it was possibly killed accidentally or on purpose by some very cruel owners or people that might have lived in your same unit that you live in, whether it's a house or an apartment, etc. But not necessarily. It could just be around your area that it was murdered and or killed or just died. And for whatever reason, it's very drawn to you because it's wanting to request your help. And it sees you as a guide. It's sort of very frantic. If it's knocking things down, it's an animal, so it doesn't have that consciousness to say, and not animals are exceptionally intelligent, but you know what I mean? It doesn't have that social etiquette, if you will, right? That social etiquette to say, okay, I don't want to scare this person. And ghosts are not known for their social etiquette anyway. So on top of it, it's an animal. So it's just really trying whatever it can to get your attention. It's very confused. And it sees that you have a very big light around you. It's very drawn to your light. And it wants to reach out to you, almost like to a friend, to say, help me. I don't understand what's happening to me, and I think that you can help me. And it looks like it had a pretty sad physical existence. Like I said, I don't think it was very well treated. And for whatever reason, this entity, even though its message to you seems kind of frightful and chaotic with, moving things around possibly, or getting like weird vibes, weird energy shifts, or you might feel scurrying next to you, or like especially if it's a bird, you might feel like your hair moving, or if that makes sense. Does that make any sense? Your hair moving? I know hair is dead. We don't feel it except in the roots, but you know what I'm saying, right? You might have your hair fly next to you, or you feel like air just kind of brushing past you as if something passed by. So this would be this energy, just really frantically trying to get your attention. Help me, please. And it's even this energy is sort of confused as to why it's drawn to you, but it just sees your light, so it sees that somehow you're a little different from the rest. And it just really is confused. It's looking for something, and it's not sure what it's looking for. Wow. It's not very often that I hear stories of people who have hauntings of animals. And I find that particularly sad because, a ghost is... Sorry, this is super loud. I mean, at least the bird sound is really loud on my end. I'm having trouble finding like a happy medium here, but... Write me down in the comments to let me know, what you think of the background noise and the volume. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I like it, but maybe it's too loud. I don't know. Anyhow. Whew. I feel this frantic energy, and it's actually making me quite nervous. And I was going to say it's quite sad when we have, ghosts, their stories in the first place. I find it very sad that you have an entity that is not willing to move on and is sort of caught in this limbo on Earth. That to me is sort of a frightening experience that I would not want to have, and quite sad to me, especially as an animal, because I view animals as generally more vulnerable than humans, on average, of course. And we are, I believe, supposed to be tasked as their protectors and their caregivers. So just like children were supposed to protect animals, it's very sad to me that sometimes this doesn't happen. Speaking of which, not trying to trigger you or anything, but this animal might be drawn to you, the spirit might be drawn to you because it senses that you've experienced some similar abuses, and that's why it feels like it can relate. So what do? Do you want this entity around you? Of course, it's not good to have this sort of negative, frantic energy, and this entity doesn't want to stay like this forever. It doesn't know what it wants, but somehow it feels that you can help. So I feel very strongly pulled to tell you that you have this uncanny ability to also communicate with animals, living and passed on. You may be an animal communicator yourself, and that's the other reason why this animal is drawn to you, attracted to you. I would say, as far as that's concerned, of what you should do, what you can do, I would say just first of all, you want to put up your boundaries as far as protecting your personal space and your loved ones with the same exercise that I had at the beginning. The second thing I want you to do is to ask your guides for help to protect you and to help, give this animal resources that it needs in order to cross on, because this animal's in a lot of pain and confusion, and it did not live a good life, and now its death was so abrupt that it didn't even realize. It's telling me it didn't even realize it was dead. It was like all of a sudden it woke up, and everything was different, and everything felt different, and everything looked different, and it was just very, very confused and lost. Actually quite sad. So it's coming to you for help. Please help me, please help me, please help me is what it's saying. Now, that's not to say that you have to do anything if you don't feel comfortable, but there's sort of this calling for you that you may be interested in to help guide animals in general, in particular, maybe other spirits, but in particular animals. So we're going to ask right now, actually we're going to do it right now. As we're conducting this reading, we're going to ask your spirit entity animals to safely present itself without creating any chaos, without creating any havoc. At the sound of my voice, I ask you, spirit of this animal, to calmly communicate what it is that you would like. All right, we're going to tune in now. See if you get any information as well. You're the animal communicator, so you might get information, you might get an idea of what to do right now. It could be something really silly, like just sending it love in your thoughts, or, setting out some kind of remembrance. There it is. There it is. Okay. It came to me just now as like I mentioned in my previous video, sometimes my intuitions just come through while I'm talking. And so, actually a lot of times that's how it happens. Or while I'm writing or while I'm communicating, they just keep coming through. Everybody's intuition is different. So, I would go outside. I would set something to symbolize this animal. So if it's a bird, feathers, maybe some grains, even flowers, anything that would be respectful towards the animal. And I want you to create, this could be inside as well, but I'm getting that the animal would rather it be outside just because what outside represents to it, since it was kept in sort of possibly captivity and an abused condition. It just really likes the idea of being outside and being set free. So if you have a backyard, if you don't have a backyard, if you can go to the park, just under a tree or something, just set up, maybe a twig and feather, or some cute little stones or flowers, some kind of an arrangement. Make some kind of like offering, as if you're doing a mini burial service. All right. And just say some words of, in your mind even, of love. We thank you for your sacrifice to this earth, and I wish you, may the angels, or may the spirits of higher vibrational, higher dimensions that take care of animals guide you to a safe place and to the light to help you cross over. And just send that animal, the spirit, a lot of love. And I think you're going to see a turnaround. You're not going to have those same energies afflict you and affect you anymore. This animal will in turn, interestingly enough, be eternally grateful to you. And it will then become, this is sort of odd. I don't know if you agree or not. You don't have to agree. If it doesn't resonate, this is really out of left field. So sometimes when I talk, the ideas that come to mind are not necessarily well, it's not, they aren't my ideas, or they're not ideas that I would usually think about. So I hesitate to share them sometimes because I think, really, what? I don't know. Is this just my imagination? But if it resonates, please, take it on, because that's sort of the way my intuition works. I'm given messages that I don't really understand sometimes. And the message that I'm being given is that when this animal passes on, it will become your spirit animal, your guide, and it will help you better communicate with other animals and help those who are abused and hurt. You may be very interested in helping the being a rescuer for animals who are in precarious situations, such as this bird was. So I think, wow. Okay, sorry, my breath just blew the cards. Maybe that is a beautiful end to this reading. The bird is now going to be able to be set free. So thank you so much for entertaining this very interesting reading. I hope this gives you the peace of mind that you need. Don't forget, you have other spirit guides, and you have namely one other spirit guide who is very protective of you. Isn't she beautiful? Very, very protective. And she says, don't you fret. Don't you worry. Sorry, I know that's a little blurry, but I'm rhyming unintentionally. I'm a walking Dr. Seuss. My apologies. She says, don't you fret, don't you worry, and everything is going to be okay. I've got you. You have nothing to fear. She's helping you to open up to this possibility that you are an animal communicator as well. How do you practice this animal communication? Just go next to animals, birds outside. Speaking of birds, you may have an interesting tie and link to birds. If you have pets or other people's pets, and just try to mentally communicate with them, see what you get in return. A lot of times animals, they think in pictures or feelings, or smells, right? They process, what they're smelling and hearing. So they experience the world in a different way. And I think that you already intrinsically, intuitively get this. You understand. So try it out, practice, see what you get in return. And that's how it will grow, by being aware and by just going out and practicing and kind of trusting the intuitions and impressions you get. You can always measure them up with facts from other people. If you get a very specific kind of piece of information from a pet, and then, see if it's not your pet, especially if it's human, if it's accompanying fellow human companion. I don't like to say owner. I think that's kind of demeaning. If you can see if it's human companion confirms any of the things that you are saying, that would be interesting. Let's try that out. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I look forward to feeling your energy in the next reading. See you later. Hello, number 2. Okay, number 2, let's see. What spirit or entity is around you? Now, I feel very drawn to pull this out. I have, it's called an evil eye. It's to keep the evil eye away from you, basically envy, jealousy from others, keep their psychic attacks and negativity away from you. And it could also be to keep any negative spirits or entities away from you as well. So this is a reminder basically that you are protected. You are heavily protected, this group, heavily protected. So, whoa, that should hopefully reassure you right off the bat. If it doesn't, let's take a look. Let's see what spirit or entity is around you. Ooh. Okay, you might get a little freaked out by this one. Okay. All right, sorry. I'm just going back and forth. I hesitate to show this card to you because disclaimer, I do not want to freak you out. And don't worry, we're going to get another card. We're going to get some clarifiers. You have nothing to worry about. Remember, you are heavily guarded and protected. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to take a look at another card. What spirit or entity is around you? Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see. Okay, yes. First of all, I actually want to start with these cards. So you have Freyr. I love this one. I always feel so protected when I look at this. This card in particular, with his very stern expression. It seems like, you know, this would be one of your guides, kind of, really, with his very masculine, strong, protective, I accidentally said angel. Yeah, so this is an archangel, possibly Archangel Michael. Okay, you do have, that's that heavy protection around you, so not to worry. I'm hearing Archangel Michael is around you, protecting you. Fairy godmother. Oh, there you go. I mean, if you didn't, oh, okay, so that's a good way to start the reading. That's your protection right there. No matter what is trying to get through, please keep in mind that you might be feeling some odd activity, but sort of on the perimeter of your, like, not so close to you. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels a little removed. And that is because your immediate surroundings are being heavily guarded and protected, and creating this natural barrier and shield, not allowing darker energies to come through. Excuse me. There I go. I sneezed. A lot of psychics say that when you sneeze, it's confirmation of what I said. So if you are worried, there's your confirmation. You are fine. This is the card that I was worried about showing you, but I'm going to break it down for you so you don't feel so concerned. The Devil card. Now, right away we can say that there is some kind of malevolent activity around your malevolent sort of spirit, but I'm going to explain this a little further. It's not... It may be a poltergeist, but more often than not, I'm not feeling that so much. I'm feeling more that there is some kind of soul, a very persistent entity who's a lost soul, who has serious, serious, serious attachments to its property, to the earthly realm, and is refusing to move on. Refusing. And we cannot help those who refuse to move on. That's their choice. Why would an entity decide to stay grounded to earth? Well, for different reasons. Maybe their death was too sudden, and they weren't able to process that they were actually dead, and it just happened so all of a sudden that it was too overwhelming for them, and they refused to accept this truth. Maybe they didn't want to finish something in their life. Maybe they were extremely, and this is what I'm getting with this entity, very, very materialistic soul that did not believe when they were living in anything paranormal or spiritual. And now that they're in the other realm, they are just so upset that they don't have a hold of their riches, of their wealth, of their materialism, and they just are refusing to move on. It's their stubbornness, it's their ego, it's their pride that they just don't want to let go of, and they were kind of a nasty person in real life. All right, you have to remember that a lot of these souls that are pretty negative, these ghosts that are very, like, you know, negative sort of entities, were pretty nasty people in real life. Okay, that not necessarily, but in this case, I would say that is the case. A very shallow kind of person, not a nice person in waking life. So the Eight of Pentacles is the next card, and I'm getting the intuition from your spirit guides and mine to just right away, like a urgent message to set up a protection right away. So I'm doing Raku around you, which is a Reiki symbol for protection. So that just kind of sometimes sound effects help me when I do Reiki, so bear with me and my quirkiness. So I'm just surrounding you with heavy protection, even more so than you already have. We're saying no to the spirit right away. You are not allowed into this person's space. You are not invited. We set up a barrier. Go away. You are not welcome. Goodbye. I hope you felt that. 'Cause I felt it. All right, let's set up your cards. Yes, Eight of Pentacles. That kind of confirms also what I was saying about this person holding on to their wellness. Eight of Pentacles, the pentacles, the coins, or some people prefer to call them coins, are very much associated with money and finances. That's one way of looking at them. There are many ways of looking at the cards. One way of looking at them is that they're associated with money and finances. So, Eight of Pentacles, a lot of... sometimes business people who are into numerology will like to have multiple eights in their addresses or whatever, because 8 in numerology is supposed to be a number associated with achievement and success. Of course, on the flip side of the 8 card, it's also associated with someone who's only thinking about work all the frickin' time. That's this person. Okay. The message is very simple for you. I'm hearing a weird message coming through to get out of whatever the situation is. If you're thinking, if you are, this is only if you are thinking of selling your home or moving out of your space, then do it, is what your spirits are saying. As far as someone else moving in, they're saying, don't worry, that they will take care of the space, and by you putting your positive energy into the space already, that will push them out. Okay, but the other thing is, at least push them away from you, and you have to also think about you first. It sounds kind of selfish, but you have to take care of you. You have to take care of your mental health and your emotional well-being and your spiritual well-being. All right, that is first and foremost. As far as your physical, of course, you're fine. You're fine, though. You're very guarded. You're very protective, so nothing to worry about. Take a deep breath in with me and a deep breath out. And let the tension go. You can do that a couple more times on your own. So, if you're not moving and you are in the space, then your spirit guides are asking you very specifically. Now, I'm not someone who is religious in any way. I don't usually pray, but I am more so on the meditating end of things. I do pray every now and then, but it's just a different kind of spiritual practice that I didn't necessarily grow up with, and that's fine, because whether you do meditation or whether you do prayer, as long as you put your intention out there somewhere, it's going to get you the same result. But that being said, the message coming through is for you to pray. For you to pray to your spirit guides for protection. Pray to whatever you believe in. If you're very religious, and of course I don't mean to offend, because I look at it all as ultimately coming down to the same point in the end. So, spiritual practices are as unique as we are unique and wonderful, beautiful snowflakes, if you know what I mean. So whether you like to practice in a certain way or other, it doesn't really matter. And I respect where you're coming from, of course. I bet you that we have more in common than you think, than we don't. So I'm getting a very strong message for you to pray to, whatever higher power you believe, and just to set those boundaries. Just by doing that, with the exercise that I did at the beginning, and with prayer, you'll be able to ward off this entity and keep it away from you. The other thing is, people say, especially in the spiritual community, which kind of gets me a little frustrated and frankly annoyed, that anger is not a good emotion. Anger is an extremely important and vital emotion. And anger is important when you're setting your boundaries, for instance, in cases like these. So, what do? Set up your boundaries. When you do that, put a little bit of anger into it, a little bit of elbow grease. You can say it out loud, really, just like, you are not welcome here, just really make a very firm tone, or in your head. When I set my protection just earlier, before the reading, I imagine sort of like fire coming out of my eyes. Sounds very dramatic, but and then I just like imagine like any spirit or entity that I didn't want coming towards me just being like burnt by fire. When it's interesting because, right, we have the devil and fire. So, you want to give that entity the taste of their own medicine, basically. All right? I send you off with love and light. You're going to be fine. Just pray. Set your boundaries, like I said. Be very firm on what you do accept into your space and what you do not accept into your space. Ask your spirit guides again for protection. Ask a higher power for protection. And be very open to the positive, the higher dimensional beings, etc., that want your highest intent. Invite them in with a warm and welcome heart. And anything that does not suit this category, you say the opposite, right? And be very on the opposite end when you respond back to them with sort of more of a fierce reaction. You can imagine fire, you can imagine like lightning bolts, whatever works for you. Be very firm. I cannot stress this enough. Be very firm with what you accept and what you do not accept. And notice that my tone got a little almost on the verge of aggressive. Like you want to get there where you're just like, you want to put on like a teacher tone, like, nope, this is not okay. These are my rules. You don't like them, goodbye, kind of thing. Like you have to kind of adopt that stance. Those boundaries are so very important. But again, I want to point out to the fact that you're fine. You're very, 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 very protected. You're good. You're good. All right? You're good. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you light. You're going to be fine. Nothing to worry about. You do what I said, you'll be good. All right? I thank you so much for joining and for coming into this, listening to this reading, and I look forward to feeling your presence in the next video. Okay. Number 3. Number 3, I already get an interesting vibe, and we'll see if the cards reflect this as well. Of course, the cards may say something different than what I'm saying now, but what I'm picking up on channeling just right before let's put another incense thing here. Even before I start to channel to use the cards, to shuffle the cards, I'm channeling and I'm getting that where is my... Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm looking for my lighter for the incense. I'm getting that the entity or spirit is more of a spirit around you. It's nothing to fear. It's sort of a very soft, gentle energy coming through. You may have noticed some odd coincidences, some odd impressions or feelings that you get. In your home, there may be certain things that all of a sudden you see something out of the corner of your eye. And sometimes, I will tell you, let me give you a small little anecdote here. I went to a friend's house once, and there was this sort of darker energy type of being, but a dark energy does not mean a bad energy. It was like a shaman type of medicine man on her property. And when I don't mean evil when I say dark, right? It just had more of a mystical, dark, kind of like witchy vibe, if you will, right? But it was a man, and it was more of a Native American shaman medicine man just on her property. And very, very serious energy, right? Very serious, very stern, very grave kind of energy. But regardless of that, even though it felt, you can really feel its presence. Like when it was around, you really felt it, like, whoa, there's something here. I don't know what it is, especially if you're more of a spiritual person and you're sensitive to these energies. Even if that was the case, it still didn't feel harassing in any way. It felt like it was just kind of saying hello and watching over my friend and I, and just being like, hey, I like you guys. You guys are both spiritual. You get me, I'm drawn to, both my friend and I are Reiki masters, so it might have been drawn to us for that reason, especially if it's a shaman. But anyway, so I just want to point out that just because you have some kind of entity, even if it has like a stronger presence, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. And in your case, I think I feel very reassured and actually very grounded. I feel that maybe this is a spirit of the earth, like a nature spirit, or a spirit that deals with a lot of nature spirits, that works with a lot of nature spirits. But let's see what the cards have to say. So what spirit entity is around you? Oh, that's all right. Okay, I'm going to show you your cards. So you have the Tower, okay, the Two of Pentacles, and the Ten of Swords. All right. Seems kind of odd, these cards, for as far as your spirit is concerned. Well, the Tower and the Ten of Swords definitely go together as being something with an ending. Let's see. Okay. All right. I'm getting some ideas here, but let me shuffle the cards in the other deck. What spirit entity is around you? Okay, well, again, all three groups are very protected. Okay. So yeah, this is a protective unicorn, the golden unicorn. Yay. Okay, this is a very elemental energy. Yes, this is very much an energy that is an earth energy, an earth, an elemental type of energy, a nature sort of spirit. This is a spirit that comes through when you're going through heavy transitions in your life and when things are kind of up and down, which is interesting because the spirit that I was talking to you guys about with the shaman, was only around temporarily, and my friend said that he was there nightly for a time and when she was going through certain things, and then after she didn't feel it anymore, and what her intuition was that she's also a channeler, and she said that, oh, this spirit is just kind of it goes towards families and people that need help. So I get such a reassuring, beautiful vibe. I almost want to just cry or something, because I think that a lot of you have been feeling scared, but yet you're confused because you don't feel threatened, and yet at the same time, the presence seems sort of overwhelming, and it's because of all of the sort of changes and almost chaotic transformations that you're going through. It can seem pretty scary, and you don't have to worry. This is a really benevolent spirit. This is a spirit that wants your highest good and intent. Of course, if you don't feel that way, always go by your intuition first. But what I'm feeling is that this is a spirit that is very drawn to those for a temporary and short period of time, when they are going through upheavals and changes in their life. You may be going through some kind of a change within, if you're married, within your relationship, within your marriage, within any relationships with friends, maybe your workplace, maybe your environment, but there's something that's going on where you just sort of feel up and down and confused and roundabout, and you just don't know what to make of a lot of your thoughts. There's so much going on at the same time. It's so chaotic that it's very hard for you to process all of this emotionally and mentally. And so what this spirit is doing is it's coming in and it's trying to help you to ground through this transition. It's trying to say that, not to worry, that everything is going to be okay, and this is only temporary. And this spirit comes with a very earthy feel. It does feel a little more stern and serious, just like the shaman energy that I was talking to you about before. But it's not a scary energy in the sense that it doesn't want you harm. It's just that not all spirits are going to be like lovey-dovey and feathery and I'll give you a hug. Some spirits are not about giving hugs and kisses and loving energy at all. They give you loving energy, but in a different way. Just like there are all kinds of personalities of human beings. We have all kinds of personalities in the spirit realm. This is a spirit that just comes in. It comes in with a very specific mission to help you ground your energy, to help you breathe, to help you, connect with nature, connect with the earth, and to say that in between all of these changes that are temporary, that are going to get you to a brighter and more beautiful place. And I see the light is coming through at the end of the tunnel, that sunshine is shining through and beaming down on you. And it's just saying, don't worry, you are going through this tower moment, you are going through this change, you're going through, you know, all these upheavals and this chaos, but it will all bring you to a better place with more clarity and more light. And in the meantime, while you're temporarily going through this, I'm coming in just to help stabilize your energy. So it's actually tuning your chakras and your energy meridians just to make them more aligned as you sleep. So you might feel this activity a little bit more at night. It might freak you out a little bit because you might feel sort of like an energetic presence around you. But let me ask you this. Do you feel threatened when you feel that energy? Or do you feel calm and sort of grounded? Despite what's going on in your mind, I want you to like check in with, you know, on an emotional level. Like, how does it make you feel? Because your mind is going to come up with all kinds of things, of course, but how does it make you feel? Okay, just breathe in, breathe out, and really tune in and ask yourself, how does this energy make me feel? Okay, and that is the answer to your question. But I'm feeling that this energy is very grounding, reassuring, and earthy, and it's just coming in to help you deal with a lot of these changes that are hard for you to deal with and process on your own right now. All right. And so I thank you so much for joining me in this video. And I look very forward to connecting with you and feeling your presence in the next. See you later. Bye.